Three takeaways from Atlanta United's 2-0 win over the Birmingham Legion. Sydney, Henry, and Tyler here at Protective Stadium, recapping the match and looking back on really good performance for Atlanta United against Birmingham Legion. Certainly much better than the performance against Chattanooga FC a week ago. So, guys, let's get started. Takeaway number one, Cayman Togashi getting on the scoreboard. Really good set piece goal that Atlanta United scored. Back-to-back weeks, guys, that they scored a set piece. Dyla talked about it last week. The need to improve in that area of their game, set pieces, and how important that will be as they try to move up in the standings versus 2024. So that was good to see. Good to see Cayman the scoreboard. And, yeah, as Atlanta United look for a backup striker, Cayman has certainly had something to say about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, set pieces are very, very important in soccer. They're routines that you can actually practice. And so, the more you can fine-tune those, the more likely that they're going to come in clutch in a game, especially, games that maybe you might struggle to control the game in. So, yeah, it's good to see. Atlanta last season had a little bit of trouble with set pieces. So it's good to see that they are practicing those and getting a little bit better on those already. Togashi, really good to see him hit the scoreboard. In the Chattanooga game, he already was showing flashes of being a very serviceable backup striker. And now today, he got his headed goal, which is excellent. But you could also just see the effort that he has. He was constantly moving. He was constantly running around, pressing. It was very exciting to see him moving around the way that he was. And so hopefully he can continue doing that, and he'll cause some serious competition for that, first backup striker spot.
Yeah, to me, it's his energy. He's kind of chaotic, like in a really good way. He never lets the center backs rest. He's just nonstop movement, and that's what you want, right? Like even when your striker's not able to hit the back of the net, if they're creating space and giving their teammates some help, by that off the ball movement and everything else. That's what you need. And, I've just been impressed with him over, 90 minutes total, two halves in both games. I like him. I like him a lot. You can tell he's a hard worker. He's constantly calling for the ball. Even when he's not getting it, though, he's giving the center back something to think about. And, yeah, it's just nice to see him get rewarded because it's a lot of work that he's been doing over 90 minutes. And but at the end of the day, the striker wants to hit the back of the net, and he did. And you got to give credit to Ronald Hernandez as well, just for the exquisite ball that he put over the top, Rocket Ronnie. But yeah, no, I like Togashi, and I think he's gonna push Jamal Tiare as well.
Sort of a sidebar to that. Hernandez probably could have had 2 assists today. Actually did, but it was called back on offside. Yeah. But good to see again Togashi again on the scoreboard. Takeaway number 2, the younger players. Definitely want to highlight 2 players in particular, Dom Chong-Ki and Luke Brennan. Brennan with the whole 90 minutes, Chong-Ki coming in the second half. Ronnie Dyla was very, very impressed with Dom Chong-Ki, saying, it's been a long time since he's seen a player like that or something along those lines. And he's a person coach who we've said in the past has mentored a lot of young players. And he said, it doesn't matter how young you are if you show that you deserve it, I'm going to play you. So really was impressed with Chong-Ki, was impressed with Brennan. We'll throw in Cobb. We'll also throw in Efrain Morales as well in the center back. So, we're just talking about the whole day. Atlanta United really have great depth in those defensive spots, left back, center back, certainly on the wings with Brennan, and that's great to see.
Absolutely. When a coach highlights young players like that, and specifically in the press conference, he called out Dominic Chong-Qui, called out Luke Brennan, gave them tons of praise for their work today. It just shows you how important those players can be in the future. They still have some development to do. Like, this isn't their best point, and that should be exciting for a lot of Atlanta United fans. Like, the future is bright. And tonight, they looked excellent. Like, they didn't look out of their depth at all. And I think it's going to be important for this season. Like you said, having the depth at those positions and kind of pushing the level of competition to make this team the best that it can be. Those kids, they're going out there with just attitude. They're going out there with bite, and they're showing out everything that Ronnie Dyla wants from these players. And if they can keep that going, like there is no ceiling for them. So I'm excited to see how they continue in this preseason and what they can do when the regular season starts.
Yeah, and I think it's as much being receptive to learning, right, as it is just going out there and putting in the hard work. I mean, Luke Brennan and Noah Cobb played 90 minutes today, and that's in a second preseason game. That's almost unheard of. But Luke Brennan, I mean, he had high praise from Ronnie Dyla in the first game. Yeah. And then, Sean Kui, I thought he had a pretty good showing in the first game. I thought he had a better one tonight. And it's nice to see, not that we ever doubted what Ronnie said in the very beginning about, letting the young guys play, but it's very obvious. I mean, he's given a lot of young talent a lot of time to 2 matches in a preseason. So, and that's not to say that they're going to be necessarily starting day one, February 22nd, but it shows that they're building trust. And you could see Ronnie Dyla down there on the touchline, especially with Chong Kui when he was on that side. He's pointing, like helping him position, helping move him around, helping put him into spaces that he's going to be successful and kind of correcting little things. And Chong Kui he's being receptive to that. He's doing what his coaches tell him to do. And yeah, I mean, for him to literally use the words, he's something special. That's amazing. So yeah, the future of Atlanta United is bright. We know this. The academy has always been, solid in turning out talent, but it's just, I'm happy for him.
And again, credit to Javi Perez and his staff for really bringing these kids along. A few rough edges, of course, as you might expect with younger players, especially with Chunky, but all in all, really good performance for him and the younger players that were out there. Takeaway number 3, just the incremental improvement, guys, that we've seen from Chattanooga to today. The big question was, how will the team respond? And by no means was the performance against Chattanooga bad. It's obviously disappointing because, you give up a lead late and essentially go down in defeat. But at the end of the day, you got to get back on the training ground, find out what you did wrong, focus on what you did wrong, and improve. And that was a big thing that we were looking for against Birmingham. How can this team bounce back? How can this team get a win, get their first win of the preseason? And all in all, a really good performance. Dyla said, there's still things to work on, but, you walk away a winner, and that's definitely something to build on as you go to Florida.
It's preseason. You're looking for improvement. You're looking for, building up the fitness. You're looking for getting into, the rhythm to start the regular season. So it's perfectly normal to see this kind of slow progression. And, today we saw a few encouraging things. We saw, again, more killer balls. We saw more of kind of the risk taking, I think, in terms of trying those balls over the top from Moranchuk, especially from trying those kind of line splitting passes. And that's stuff that you want to see in a team that really wants to emphasize attack and moving forward quickly. And Ronnie Dyla even talked about it in the press conference. I asked him, you mentioned the back passes last time. You talked about how you didn't like them. How is that improving? And he said, it was better this time. And you could see that today they were a little bit more kind of front-footed. They were going forward a little bit more. But he says, they need to do more. They need to continue improving. And that's what preseason is all about. So absolutely, there are many encouraging signs. Obviously, they're getting the 2 goals today. You just got to keep on building on that, and you're about to get ready to start facing MLS opponents now. So you're going to need to continue building on that, and hopefully their time in Florida as a group helps them build a little bit more cohesion, and we'll see an even better Atlanta United by the time they're back in Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean, and one of the things that I asked Ronnie was what specifically did you see between Chattanooga and Birmingham? I mean, it was 1 week. You don't have a whole lot of time, and I think most people would agree that what fans saw in 1 week is actually pretty impressive in terms of fixing little things, playing more forward passes. He highlighted playing through the middle more. And I think for us, we saw specifically the amount of discipline kind of with the back line, especially first 25, 30 minutes. You have Noah Cobb, Efrain Morales, Ronald Hernandez, they're keeping the shape. The entire team is keeping a shape in defense and then switching on offense and doing what they need to do. Quick shout out to Bartek Slish as captain. I thought he did really, really well in that first half. But it's that discipline thing. That was one of the things I think a lot of people were excited about was the discipline, the structure that Dyla could bring. We're now 3 weeks into preseason, two games in, and you're already seeing good improvements. It's not perfect yet, but it's the right path.
And a little bonus nugget that he threw in at the end of this press conference about Miguel Marron, right?
Yeah. Said Miggy is set to start training with the team on Monday.
Good to hear. Good to hear. Yeah, definitely. So obviously promising as his prospects to play on February 22nd against CF Montreal. So we'll monitor that. We'll monitor, of course, remainder of preseason as the Lady United head down to Florida, Bradenton, Florida, to continue preseason. Here today, though, 2-0 against Birmingham Legion. Cayman Togashi in the first half, own goal in the second half, and Lady United pick out their first win of the preseason. Like, subscribe, share our content, check us out, scarvesandspikes.com, follow us on Patreon, patreon.com/scarvesandspikes, and we'll see you next time.